And a very pleasant good morning to you. We welcome you to this week's edition of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Joining us this morning, it is the one and only Ron Rademann.
Well, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Another typical November morning now.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Rip the page off the calendar day.
Yeah, that's always kind of sad when we get to November, I think. It's
Well,
we don't have much to look forward to for the next few months.
No, 300th day of the year, 65 left.
Oh.
And less than a month till Thanksgiving, less than 2 months till Christmas. To put things in perspective for you.
4 or 5 months till we start up with the new Landscape Smart.
And it'll be spring. Good morning to Master Gardener Patty. You're with us today.
Morning.
How are you?
Good. I don't like fall that much, but just because it's almost winter.
Oh, okay.
I don't like winter.
Okay.
Well, and that's what it seems like. September and October are nice, but once you kind of get to November, that's when,
the truth hits.
The truth hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it typically we, although the next 10 days, 2 weeks looks a lot like the last week or so.
Not a lot of rain in the forecast again.
No, nothing much still for rain and 50s for highs and, 30s for lows, not really 20s for lows, and but not, 40s and 50s for lows either.
Right.
So it's just kind of, it looks like the next 2 weeks are going to be about the same as the last week or so.
And we have
which isn't bad for early November.
No, we'll take that. We'll take that. My snow blower is tuned up and ready. I'm trying to consider it as an insurance policy. If I never use it, I am good with that. But we got a third person with us this week.
Yeah, we have Luke Roffers here again this week. He was here 4 or 5 weeks ago, I guess, and he's been on the show 3 or 4 times now this summer. So welcome back, Luke.
Yeah, good morning.
Good to see you.
You too.
And it's your victory Saturday.
It is.
Yeah, you had a good night last night.
Got a buck last night.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Nice rack. He showed us a picture.
Yeah, it looked like quite a nice one, yeah.
923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. Lines are open if you choose email, kfizstudio@gmail.com. We know that we're open. Are you?
Rademann's isn't open here anymore now. On Saturdays, we're not open. I should clarify that. We're open Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock, and then, but not on Saturdays anymore.
Winter schedule,
yeah. It's just, it quiets down exponentially as we get into November, December, January at Rademann's.
When's that usually go back? Like April or?
Yeah, well, usually we kind of look out the window and decide.
see when people are waiting in the parking lot on Saturday morning.
Right, and when we're getting a lot of calls, for shredded dirt and mulch and things like that, come March, then we, and if we're doing deliveries on Saturday, or if we can't, we fill up with deliveries on Friday and end up doing them on Saturday, then we have to be open, on Saturdays just to fill demand. So that usually ends up being right around the first part of April, but every year is sometimes there's still snow on the ground in April too, but not the last few years. So we've been opening
Wisconsin
up a little bit earlier on Saturdays, just, as compared to what we did 10 years ago, let's just say. So.
Alrighty, 923-1450. Your call could be the first one in. And again, we always urge you to call if you have questions earlier in the show so we can get your question answered. If you call at 8:59,
it makes it difficult.
Yeah. And speaking of end of season,
we'll answer your question next year.
Yeah. Well, this is our second last show.
We'll be here again next week. Next Saturday. So that'll be November 8th.
Mm-hmm.
And then I still actually haven't talked to Sean to officially decide, but I think we're going to do shows the first Saturday of every month, and December, January, February, and March, and then we'll start up towards the middle or end of March again. So we will do one show the first Saturday of each month if it works okay with KFIZ's schedule, and it usually does.
I am sure he can make arrangements.
If you can be here, Jerry, that's probably
I'm here anyway.
Arrangement number one.
I'm here anyway till 9, whether you are or not. I are.
Gives you something else to do for an hour.
Yeah, which means I have to work. This is easy. I just push buttons. All righty, we got a caller. Let's hit the phones. Good morning. You're on the air.
When is the best time to put mulch on top of strawberry beds?
I would wait. You want to put it down probably right after the ground freezes, but if the temps are going to go down to 20, I would try and get it done then.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All righty, thanks for the call. And the lines are open, 923-1450. That's how simple it is. Call in, ask your question, get an expert opinion, and then hang up.
Yeah, you got to be. If you mulch them too early, it's too warm under there. So you want to wait here a little bit yet. We're not quite, like we said earlier, there isn't really any. They've got 28 or 29 or 30 is kind of the forecasted overnight lows for the next. The lowest of the lows for the next couple weeks yet. Yeah. So we're a couple weeks away yet.
And if you do it when it's still this warm out, they'll start getting like a fungus. It's not good for the plants at all. It's not hurting the root system, but the plants could start developing a fungus, and then that could transmit into the root system.
All righty, got another caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning. Good morning. My question is, in the spring I called in about my Mugo pines, and you recommended spraying them with the oil.
Dormant oil. Mm-hmm.
Yes, because you asked were they silvery, and I said yes. Okay. Well, I noticed that it's back. That one of the bushes has some of that on it again. There's been a lot of new growth and things. Do I spray that again now?
I think I would wait until March and spray it. I don't know that there would be a big advantage to doing it right now. I mean, it wouldn't hurt, but the other way to think about it is I think you should do it in March. Anyway, even if you would spray them now, I would do it again a couple times in March. So, you wouldn't really hurt anything by doing it now, but the better time would be in March, right as the scale is kind of starting to liven up for spring, let's just say. It's more dormant right now, and you might even have just like leftover scale there from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So
there wasn't anything. It was gone all summer. A lot of it's just new growth.
So is it on the new growth of the Mugo pines or last year's growth?
It's on the new growth. There was a lot of new growth because the rabbits had chewed back on it.
Oh,
so
mm-hmm. Well, it sure wouldn't hurt to spray them then right now, because
okay.
But then I would probably still spray them again in March. Mm-hmm.
All right. Sweet.
And it's a dormant oil spray, so when you're spraying in March, you want to do it when it's 40 during the day and 20 overnight. So at this time of year, it probably doesn't matter much what the temperatures are. So, but yeah,
very
that's
good. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call, and that leads to break number 1.
All right, break time. Rademann's not open today, Saturday. We are open Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock. So you can stop on out. We're just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac And then east on County B, about a quarter mile right there at the crest of the hill, or call for an appointment, 920-922-7612.
And we are back. Landscape Smart brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. And the phone lines are open for you, 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450. Email-wise, you can send pictures if you'd like. Makes it easier for this gang to see what your problem is. KFIZstudio@gmail.com. But if you're going to send a picture, send a question with it. Then we know they know what they're supposed to be looking at. Anyhow, give a shout. Early in the show is always much better. So fall time.
Well, this is when you start, or some people already did, but I have not started planting my garlic. This is when you do that, and your tulips and all the other bulbs. But used to be that we would try and get them in mid-October, but lately, the way the falls go, it's okay to get it done between the 1st and 15th of November now instead.
At least for the last few years,
Right.
including this year.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't, if the ground is frozen, it makes it difficult.
Right.
But when the, overnight lows are barely touching 30, the ground isn't going to freeze. As a matter of fact, the ground is still pretty warm yet.
Yeah.
So it's, we're kind of stretching the fall again this year. And, that works out fine. You can, I would say you could kind of, do your step 4, your winterizer anytime now. We're not going to get, I don't think we're going to get too many more 70-degree days. We might get a few upper 50s or maybe touch 60, but that isn't going to really. So, go ahead and get your winterizer down now. And
Get her done.
And, for that matter, if you did it back in September, you probably should do it again because it, with the warm temperatures that we had in September and October, your winterizer wouldn't be doing you any good anymore now.
It's been used up.
It's been used up. Mm-hmm. And it's still not, they're not really calling for a lot of precipitation in the next 10 days. So good conditions to get it down. So
A lot of leaves on the ground already, though, that I'll tell you.
well, and there's a lot of leaves still in the trees yet.
Yeah.
So that presents a little bit of a problem. You have to make sure you clean up the leaves before you put the winterizer down, or your winterizer will be in your leaves instead of on your lawn. So it's kind of you got to work fast. You got to clean up the leaves in the morning and put your winterizer down in the afternoon.
While it's still visible.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's amazing how much, how the leaves are hanging in there this year. But we had such a warm September, and even a warm, the first couple weeks of October were warm. So the trees weren't really thinking about, they were shutting down, but they weren't shutting down completely. So a lot of leaves still up in the trees.
A lot of vegetation is confused with these temperature changes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the leaves were pretty much off of my lilacs, and they started shooting out some tiny little lilac blossoms.
Talk about confused.
Yeah, they've done that though a couple times. It's like they're done, and then they think, well, it's still warm out. Maybe I should start back up. But it doesn't hurt, the plant at all that it gets confused like that. I'll still have blossoms in spring.
You have to cut these off when they're pooped out?
Well, maybe, but I don't.
Okay.
You probably don't get that many blossoms.
No,
You just get a few.
Yeah, and they're pretty small. So
Okay. So, Luke, you're a landscaper.
I am.
What the heck do you do in winter?
That's a title.
Yeah.
We do snow removal, and usually do some remodeling at the shop, some game planning for the next year.
Okay, so it's you're not on vacation.
No, we're thinking about getting into, or not thinking. We're just starting some like stamped overlays for floors. So when I built my house, I stamped the whole basement to look like wood. So it's all concrete floor, but it looks like wood.
Wow.
So I'm gonna start doing like thin set concrete over existing basement floors and garage floors and stuff. And
You're
so
gonna keep busy.
we got practice on that. Sometimes we like make fake natural stone steps with some of our stamps and liners over the winter. Pretty much anything you can do. It's sort of a boring time of year, to be honest. Everything turns black and white, and then you just wait, pretty much.
But you're not on vacation.
No.
Well, you do get some calls in the winter. You know, people are
Yeah, we'll do like cleanups or like some brush clearing type stuff, or
But I mean, even you'll get calls from potential clients.
oh yeah. All winter we're still sending designs and going back and forth with customers, locking in projects for the next year.
Okay, so it's kind of a planning.
It's a good time to do it too, because like a typical full install takes about a month and a half of going back and forth with estimate, design, picking stuff out.
Yeah, winter
if you
would be
have
an
that-
ideal time.
So if you have that extra time, then you get a little more time. You know, the homeowner gets a little more time to think about it in between too.
Yeah.
They aren't forced into a
Rush decision.
rush decision, right? You get a chance to plan it out a little bit better and think it through, and so
Just kind of wondering, because there's
Yeah. And
what
then
your primary function kind of is on hold.
yeah, it just
so your
stops.
crew, you aren't quite as busy with the crews, in the winter, but the office work still is all still there.
That never ends
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in any
We
business.
have half our employees on all the crews are salaried, so it kind of pays to still do some stuff, keep them around
Mm-hmm.
in the
Yeah.
flow of things. I've also noticed too, if we completely just stop working and then come back, it's almost like you got to relearn some stuff. So
Better
it's
to
good
keep it fresh.
Good to stay in the swing of things, and even if we're just practicing things, improving techniques and stuff in the shop, going through our tools, stuff like that, just keeps you in the flow of things. Going through equipment, it's a good time of year to go through all the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
We oftentimes catch ourselves just running this stuff nonstop, and
Well, when some things break down at this time of year, you kind of push them in the corner because you don't always need every piece of equipment that you need in the spring. So that kind of ends up happening, and then you got to get that stuff caught up in December and January and February, because you need every piece of equipment you have. But when March hits again,
yeah, I think our main enclosed trailer has been at the shop maybe like 5 to 10 days the whole summer. It just
Wow.
goes from one job and then to the next one, and we just keep parking it at the next place.
Keeps you busy. And Rademann's is open all winter.
yeah, well, that's changed through the years too. When I first started at Rademann's, by the time it got to about November 15th, we were basically just locking the door, and then we wouldn't open it until April, where now, we're working year round, quarrying and cutting stone and all that part. We don't, the yard isn't quite as busy because we're not loading up, Luke with retaining wall block and outcropping stone and things like that through the winter months. But we have a national business, so we're shipping stone every day, all winter long, and not necessarily into Wisconsin always, but throughout, into, and even as close by as the Chicago market. They don't really shut down anymore now for the winter too. They used to kind of shut down for a couple months in the winter, but now the Chicago market just goes, just like us around here. Our season used to be 9 months, 8 or 9 months. Well, you add an extra month in the fall and an extra month in the spring in Chicago, and you go right up to 12 months out of the year. So, and Chicago is a big market for our natural stone, our biggest market really, although our biggest customer is actually in Utah. So we ship a lot of stone, all over the country during the winter months.
So do they just not get like that really white stone like we have here in Utah, or why don't they get stone from their own quarries?
Well, it's a different look. It's a different texture. It's we're sawing it more dimensionally. It's a little more natural out there. The stone's crookeder. It's not as
maybe a softer stone out there too.
Yeah, well, because it's still, a lot of that is still limestone or sandstone. So I guess it probably could be a little bit softer. But the difference is, here it's layered. So we've got it's squarer. It's
more in sheets and
it's
workable.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So you end up with a whole different look. It's a little more of a formal look because of the dimension of the stone. So it's a different, I'm sure they sell a lot of local stone out there too, but we have accounts in California and, all over out there. So,
So you keep busy.
So it definitely keeps us busy all winter long because, again, they're working all 12 months of the year. And a lot of our stone ends up indoors also. It's not all on the exterior.
Mm-hmm.
And planning stuff ahead too. So say you're booked out a couple of months on like big orders and stuff. So say that order's for April. Once it's nice enough to install it, you might already be working on that.
Right, they're inventorying stone for because there's a little bit of a process to get it from, our quarries here in Fond du Lac to Utah or California. So by the time it's cut to the dimensions that they want and shipped that far, there's about a month lag time in between there. So
Truck or train?
Most of it's all shipped by truck.
Okay.
Because it's in crates, and then we'll.
So there's a lot of intensive labor in even getting a shipment ready to go.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Wow. 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450, KFIZ studio at gmail.com. And lines are open, computers available. And then a quick question for Master Gardeners, as long as we're talking about winter. You guys really don't get a vacation either very long.
Not really. We have to start. We have already started planning our plant sale, and that's the biggest thing we do all year.
And that's May.
Yeah. Mother's Day Saturday. Oh,
okay.
That's been a good Saturday, so that's what we're gonna keep it at.
Perfect. But then planting begins in probably late winter, early
January,
spring?
February. Yeah. We still get to be able to use the greenhouse at the former UW.
Spit it out.
Former UW. It's not UW anymore.
No.
But
At
and
least-
we're also they also moved us out of the campus
So the office is now where?
at the courthouse on the second floor.
Oh.
Yeah. We weren't happy. Not really.
Well, you're nowhere near the greenhouse.
No. But yeah, it's my community garden job. Not the master gardeners have no office there, but the community garden job is
Okay.
still with Extension.
Ah, okay.
So,
So location change, but still in existence.
yes.
Okay. All righty. With that thought in mind, let's go into break number 2.
All right, I like that idea. So, as we said earlier, Rademann's not open on Saturdays anymore now until April. So, we are open Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock, though, so you can still stop on out. We're just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac. Good time to get, you can get a plan in place for next year. So 3 miles south of Fond du Lac and east on County B, about a quarter mile.
KFIZ News Time 8:41. Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. Lines are open for your questions: lawn, garden, bushes, trees, chirping birds, stones, pavers. And email is kfizstudio@gmail.com. Mr. Ron.
Well, I was just going to say it's, even though it is November, it's a little late now to plant evergreens. I would, for the most part, I wouldn't plant evergreens anymore now. They like to get rooted in and kind of reestablished before the cold weather hits. And of course, because they have needles that are there all winter long, they can dehydrate, dry out if the ground freezes, and so once November hits, it's pretty much too late to transplant or plant evergreens. As far as transplanting or planting leaf trees, we're still right in the middle of the thick of things there. So, there's no leaves on the trees. It's a great time to plant leaf trees and shrubs, for that matter, for the most part. I would steer clear of some of the tender ones. Maybe your like endless summer hydrangeas or some of those like that are a little borderline. You want to, hibiscus or, things like that.
Yeah.
Rosa Sharon. You'd want to kind of steer clear of planting those. Let those wait until April or May to plant.
Anything that's hardy down to zone 3 is you could plant now, as far as deciduous shrubs with leaves, but and perennials, you could move your perennials still. It's a good time to do that. But you have to make sure that you keep watering even some of your newly planted from early spring trees and shrubs, because it's been kind of dry. And if they go into winter too dry, they can have a problem. So,
and you don't need to water every day, for heaven's sake. If you water thoroughly right now, it stays wet for 10 days, 2 weeks. So if you haven't watered it in the last few weeks, go out and water, and then you're good for a couple of weeks. You don't have to, water what I would say regularly.
No.
One good soaking at this time of year lasts real good because it doesn't really dry out. The sun is lower in the sky, the days are shorter, so
it's got to be long and slow though. It's like I put my hose out there at a trickle for like 45 minutes on each one.
Yeah, it's sucking it right in.
Yeah.
Because it's dry on top and down and down below right now. And any, especially evergreens, they for sure need to be watered going into fall. And those you might water now, or if you watered this past week, you might water them again at Thanksgiving, just with the temperatures the way they're forecasted. So, I wouldn't give up on, don't shut your water off, don't put your garden hoses away quite yet, because if you did any summer planting and on the other hand, if you planted, shrubs or perennials or trees, those you could almost probably water real good, and then you could probably put your hoses away. We should be okay as far as those go, but evergreens, probably are going to need a second watering this year around Thanksgiving or into early December, just as I look at the 2-week forecast with very little rain and still, kind of warmer temperatures yet.
So keep the hoses available.
So yeah, if you planted any evergreens, I wouldn't put everything away quite yet.
Even older ones?
Well, if you planted last year, it sure wouldn't hurt to water them right now, or anything that's, any of your evergreens, because it's been pretty, it was really warm in September, still pretty warm in October, and dry in September, October, and it's looking like November is going to be pretty dry too. Sometimes, and Luke and I, we've worked enough falls through the years. I mean, sometimes we're just battling terrible conditions at this time of year. It's just slop, it rains once or twice, and then it just doesn't dry out. And some years at this time of year, we're really battling the elements the other way around, where this year we're still transplanting trees and doing things like that, and we're driving right across people's front lawns because with heavy equipment, because it's so firm out. So
certainly is. I've noticed that. 923-1450, Luke.
I was just gonna say, I just had one. All those memories pop up on Facebook. I just had one pop up from I think it was 2 years ago, and we were finishing a landscape install up in Whispering Springs, and all our stuff was just covered in snow. It was actually a video, and the guys were driving the equipment.
Wow.
I think we were just finishing the decorative stone on it, but it was snowing pretty good.
Yeah, well, again, welcome to Wisconsin. You just don't really ever know season to season, year to year. So 923-1450. Now is the time to call them in. There's only about 11 minutes left of the program today, so get your questions in so these guys can get it answered for you. I'm out of questions. Here comes Ron.
Well, I'll think of something to talk about.
You're talking evergreen trees. What about evergreen bushes? They fall into that same category, older ones?
Yeah, well, I was kind of lumping those all together.
So trees or bushes or whatever. It's evergreen water.
Yeah, and even, like nowadays, we don't use as many like Japanese yews or mugo pines or junipers. We boxwood and things like that are more common, and boxwood, are an evergreen also, a broadleaf evergreen, so it keeps its leaves all winter long, and they dehydrate too. So for sure, if you planted, and again now a boxwood, that's not a real deep-rooted plant, so those, if you planted any of those this summer, I hope you watered them in September and October, because you probably be replacing them next year if you didn't, because it was, with it being that hot and dry. So if you cheated on your boxwood and didn't, and even if those were planted 2 or 3 years ago, it definitely would help to water those. They, when we started up the show in March and in April, we always get the calls, and well, what should I do? My boxwood, the tips are all brown on it, it's burnt. Well, what you should do then is, now you've got to trim it and help it recover, but it would have been a lot easier to water it in here in November or late October, and then you wouldn't be, you wouldn't have the question in spring what to do with it when half of it's dead. So, what you're doing right now is, water is the cheapest insurance there is, and you don't need spray, you don't need to trim. It's a lot easier to water than to trim and clean up. So and the same thing goes as far as, arborvitaes or any of the other evergreens. You get winter dieback on them if you don't water them at this time of year. So
Get the hose out.
so get the hose out and do that, and then you'll save yourself a lot of work come springtime.
Does the watering help prevent the winter burn too?
Yeah, because if the roots are moist, what the problem with evergreens is they have leaves,
Yeah.
and so they transpire. So you get that winter sun together, and it reflects off the snow and it dehydrates them. So if the roots are wet and or if it's frozen, it's better. If they're covered with snow and frozen, then they're more dormant than if it's open. And it just seems like we have a lot more open winters now than what we ever used to.
Yeah.
So you have to be prepared for a winter without snow, and if the snow is melting, well, you're watering. And so if you're getting good snow cover, and even if it's freezing and thawing, they're getting watered all winter long. So it's the lack of snow that's created the problems these last few years.
Yep.
And because then, your evergreens or your plants are getting watered every time the snow melts. So,
And it's lack of snow plus a really drop in temperature that kills most of our stuff.
right, the temperatures, well, we'll talk about that when we come back after the break. So, Rademann's not open today, open Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock. And you can give us a call Monday through Friday, 920-922-7612.
All right, we are back. Final couple minutes of this week's edition of Landscape Smart, brought to you by Rademann Stone and Landscape Company. If you got a question, it's now or never. Well, you still have next week. 923-1450, 1-888-900-1450, KFIZ studio at gmail.com, and back to your temperature variations.
I was
Caught you off guard with that.
yeah. Well, I was going to say, if you're tuning in now, you could listen to the beginning of the show on YouTube, too. Go to KFIZ on demand, and you can listen to past episodes, or go on YouTube and search Landscape Smart. Better yet, subscribe, and we'll email it to you that it's available each week to re-listen to parts if you so care to.
And who wouldn't?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
who wouldn't?
You get to see Luke's smiling face, Patty's smiling face.
Luke's stocking cap?
Yeah, he's
You think it's winter or what?
so.
Anyhow.
So anyway, yeah, Landscape Smart 25, and you can listen or watch this episode or the last couple weeks if you missed those, or next week, which will be our last show now next week, and then we'll do them the first Saturday of each month, going through the winter months. So
Perfect.
the first Saturday of December, first Saturday of January, and on from there. So
Wonderful. Unless the first Saturday's on the 1st, is it? First of January.
Saturday of November was on the 1st.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering about January.
Could be. Yeah.
Then it would be the second Saturday, I'll bet.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to think
We'll
about
have to look at a calendar.
We'll have to figure that one out. We didn't think that far ahead. That's January.
That's right. This is only November 1st.
Yeah, we're still in summer mode here.
Yes.
We're not in January mode yet. We'll worry about January in
With
the winter.
all
Yeah.
the sweaters and quarter zips on, Last call, 923-1450. If you got a question, give a shout.
Well, I'm going to be going into the new extension offices at the courthouse next week. So if you need anything from the master gardeners, I can help you out. But my job is really community gardens.
Okay. Phone numbers and stuff change, just the location. Or they're the same.
They're the same. They're the same.
Location changed.
Yeah,
Okay.
Which doesn't really matter to most people, I guess.
probably not. and most people do contact by phone anyway, so
Okay.
that's good.
Makes it easy.
Yep.
So yeah, you'll have to if you come up with a question after next Saturday, you got to wait the month out, or otherwise you can call Patty.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll help you. I usually can figure stuff out pretty good.
And you have you have people.
I do. I have lots of people.
You have people. All righty. I don't think we're going to be able to take another call because it's going to kick in with the theme song. Like probably in 8 seconds.
Countdown, huh?
Countdown.
We can't even start another subject then.
No. Well, you can talk about your weekday hours.
All right, yeah. Again, it's Saturday. Rademann's not open on Saturdays here now through the winter months. We are open, of course, Monday through Friday till 4 o'clock, and we're just 3 miles south of Fond du Lac, and the easiest way to find us is take exit County B as in boy, off of Highway 41, and we're just down the road about a quarter mile. Also give us a call, 920-922-7612.
All righty. Our thanks to Master Gardener Patty, landscaper Luke Ruffers, and of course Ron. And our thanks to you for your calls.